This is a short video lecture on the concepts that are covered in Chapter 2. As discussed, we're going to be talking about the manufacturing process. There's 4 different inventory accounts within the manufacturing process, specifically raw materials, work in process, finished goods, and cost of goods sold. We're going to talk about how these accounts are related to each other and how to solve for different various steps throughout the production process. The first account that we always start with is our raw materials. Raw materials are is exactly what it says. It's the raw material that's used within the manufacturing process. So this example looks at Northern Lights, which is a furniture company, and it's the same company and example that's covered within the textbook. Here it says Northern Lights began the year with $10,000 in raw materials, and they purchased an additional $40,000. So this is what's purchased. This is beginning. So we're going to go 40,000 here. And their raw materials at the end of the year was $5,000. It's asking us how much raw materials were used in production. So what does this mean? The raw materials that are used in production are basically the raw materials that's going to be moved over to your work in process. So you can see here, if you set up your T account, you have $50,000 here and you have ending of $5,000. So let's solve for what the credit would be that would then get credited to raw materials and debited to work in process. It's basically going to be your beginning inventory plus what you purchased during the year minus what you have at the end of the period. In order for this to foot to $5,000, this needs to be $45,000. So this is what we refer to as your raw materials used in production. And once you credit it to raw materials, you would debit it to work in process. So let's look at what they say about our work in process. Beginning work in process was $15,000. Here, I'm looking here at this bullet right here. And ending work in process was $20,000. What else goes into work in process? If you read through the chapter, you know that it's going to be your raw materials, excuse my abbreviations, plus your direct labor, plus your manufacturing overhead. So do we know anything about these items? Let's look here. They incurred direct labor cost of $65,000 for the factory workers, and they also incurred manufacturing overhead costs of $85,000 for machine costs, rent, depreciation, the cost of utilities, etc. When you look at your work in process account, you're always going to have these 3 items: direct labor, direct or raw materials, and manufacturing overhead. These concepts are going to carry throughout the rest of the semester, so make sure you understand those concepts. Again, it's asking us to find how much were the cost of goods manufactured. What does that mean? What happens when you move from work in process to finished goods? It means that you have finished manufacturing that item and it is now finished. Therefore, that's going to be your cost of goods manufactured. I'm color coding these. So how do we solve for that? It's going to be our beginning inventory plus all of these, our direct labor, our raw materials, and our overhead. And in order for it to foot to 20,000, we're solving for the cost of goods manufactured. So we're going to subtract our ending inventory. And our cost of goods manufactured is going to be $190,000. Okay? So you can see that 210,000 minus 190 gives you the 20,000. It's the same concept that we used here. The basic formula is beginning plus what was added during the period minus your ending inventory equals what was used or completed. Okay? So now we have credited work in process. That means we're going to debit our finished goods. And what do we know about our finished goods inventory? Oops, what happened here? Okay, beginning finished goods was $30,000, and our ending finished goods was $5,000. So what happens with our finished goods? When do we credit our finished goods? We do that when we sell the product and it moves to cost of goods sold. So here it was cost of goods manufactured, and here it's going to be your cost of goods sold. Okay? So how do we solve for that? I'm sure you guys can guess at this point. It's going to be your beginning plus your cost of goods manufactured, what was added during the period, minus your ending, which gives us $215,000 in cost of goods sold. That's going to go over to cost of goods sold, and it's going to show up on the income statement as an expense. So this is telling us that, oops, I did it again. Here we go. This is telling us that Northern Lights had sales of $500,000 and selling and admin expenses of $175,000. It's asking us to prepare the income statement for the period. Whenever you're doing an income statement, the first thing that you're going to add is your sales. Okay? So here they told us that our sales is $500,000. Oops. 500. Okay? Next, we're going to look at our cost of goods sold. So this is a regular income statement, and we just solved our cost of goods sold, which is here, $215,000, and our gross margin is the difference between the two. And then we have our selling and admin expenses, which the problem told us was $175,000, which gives us our net operating income of $110,000. This problem is the same as what is in the textbook chapter. The chapter will give you more details on this, but I wanted to walk through how you can use T accounts to help you understand the concepts of this formula and how to solve for your raw materials used in production, your cost of goods manufactured, and your cost of goods sold. Hope you found this video helpful. Thank you.